Sorry, Carol. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will. I'm a D&D6 icon, and I'm back today with yet another episode of The Long March, Kingmaker. We've got a full cast and crew back with us today for yet another fantastically fun episode filled with fun things and goodness of heartwarming tale. I'm kidding. It's dark fantasy, so dark you can barely see it at times. Make sure to be wearing your night vision goggles when watching this story. But let's go around the cast and crew. Did you enjoy yourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Those were the two wrong questions. I realized that as I was saying the sentence, but it's fine. Josh, how's it going? I was halfway through it, and then I just... It was done already?
We want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everybody.
I either decided to go with it, or I stopped and looked like an idiot, so I just went for it, you know? Now I look clever.
Considering, if you didn't see last episode, watch his intro from last week. Now watch this episode and understand how...
All edited in post.
That was so intense. That was so fucking intense. Okay, hi, my name is Josh, sometimes known as Encounter Josh. I'm here to DM today for the crazy... I feel like a jolt of energy has just hit me, and I'm super excited to get into everything. Last week we had a huge invading army and loads of shenanigans went down, but to find out more about those shenanigans, we've got to introduce the cast and crew, so let's get on with that.
Awesome. We have Lorelani with us tonight. Tia, how's it going?
It's going.
Going somewhere. Don't know where it's going.
I don't know where this is gonna go, but I feel like this is gonna be an episode for the ages. I am playing. I was gonna say Kari for a second, but that's later tonight on World Tree Burns. I'm playing Sarah, a champion cleric of Saint Cuthbert, and I am really excited to see where we're gonna be going from here. And to see how Duran is doing after being
get on the hype train.
Brutally fucking destroyed.
Savage. It was destroyed. Like, I felt like I, as a person, lost self-confidence after watching that happen to Duran. Like, it was brutal. I had to reevaluate everything.
Cold heart.
Yeah. Well, that brings us perfectly on to Jess, Little Cup of Joe. How's it going, Jess?
Indeed, it is going quite well. Yes, I am the murderer of hearts. You're welcome. I'm Jess, Little Cup of Joe. I'm playing Lucy, the human diviner / druid who just has problems. And one of those problems is probably marching to the town right now, in fact. So, you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not worried. Lucy's worried, though.
Yeah, I'm worried as well for her. But yes, I myself will be playing Curtis Iago Fearson, who's here today to try and help his buddy Duran recover from the grievous wounds which have been done to his very soul, I would say, and to try and infiltrate this army successfully without getting all of us killed along the way. Tool School is on his way. He's like stuck in traffic right now, so he may be here shortly. He may be here in a little while. Either way, he may show up at some point, but definitely for Midgard later on tonight. Before we start today's game, and we remind you what happened last time on the show in case you missed it, remind you guys that we are here today sponsored by FantasyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Head over to Fantasy Grounds, check out their free demo licenses to play your own virtual tabletop games with friends that you can find in the Encounter Roleplay Discord. I'll link down here. The licenses start at $4 after the demo version. And of course, then there's whalengames.co.uk for our miniature and board game, role-playing game line of choice. Whalengames.co.uk prints some fantastic products, and they ship internationally as well. So if you want board games, if you want war games, or if you want tabletop role-playing games, then head over to whalengames.co.uk to check those guys out. Of course, you guys can interact with today's show. If you haven't followed yet, hit the follow button and join us. We hit 20 followers today, and of course, 20 retweets on this tweet. You guys get to decide something which happens next in our show. And last but not least, you can donate to affect the game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. But I'll head over to Josh to remind us what happened last week on The Long March.
Well, last week on The Long March, we witnessed a really like a duel, a one-on-one combat that ended with someone being wounded dramatically, but more on that as it develops. We found the party starting off staring into a wall where a body had been concealed, actually molded into the stone itself. The body was of Stavros, spy master of Rivercroft, and presumed at this point, it was presumed that he was AWOL, had run away, was somehow responsible for the prince's kidnapping / potential murder, and instead they found that he had been entombed and probably died from necrotic magic. After that, there was some shenanigans. They burned the body. It was discovered that apparently Duran had a little bit of a thing for Lucy, and thus ensued the great conquest of... Just it went abysmally badly. Duran is now suffering from a lingering injury that is much worse than his gut wound. It's a chest wound. It's straight through his heart. Yeah. Lucy gives love a bad name.
And Isriva gives Josh's NPCs 3 wild magic surges.
Okay, fantastic. I will that's fun. That's fun. I can dish them out into NPCs, of which an absolute shit ton have arrived, as there was a tender moment between Lucy and Duran, and by tender I mean Duran came away from it pretty tender, but he saw in the distance that there was an army marching towards, which they already knew about, except this army has arrived a lot sooner than they were expecting. They haven't had as much time to prepare, and as they come in to cause absolute carnage and chaos, they discover that, I will read that in just a moment, that the army has come to pacify the local area, but also has a standing order for the arrest of Lucy, and the order comes from the king and the High Mage. Brekendale has never had a High Mage before, but it turns out that they do now, and the High Mage may or may not be Lucy's estranged half-brother. So there we have it.
Amazing. And Andrew's donation is that the party doesn't know it yet, but the army has recovered Rosie, the underdog, and plan to eat her soon. Save her, please.
Oh my God.
Rosie, please.
Rosie.
I'm gonna let him kill her.
Just because you're a monster. Well, because you are. Okay, so yeah, that's where we wrapped up last week, but we will begin this week with you guys have a little time, and by a little I mean maybe half hour or so, to prepare to disguise Lucy, which I know you did. You used your disguise kit last week and doing quite well. Lucy now looks a little different. We'll sort of have a look at sort of what has been done to disguise her and how she now appears. But you seem to persuade these 3 guards who came in, these 3 knights who came in, that that Lucy is not the one that they are looking for. You Jedi mind tricked them out of there. Okay. And you now have a wanted poster of your own face hanging in the bar that you work in, Lucy. How does that feel?
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, like,
is it a good drawing?
It's worryingly good.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy like
settle down.
Did you get my nose right?
I know what you were doing. Okay.
We like the guy like walked in, put it up, and was like, "Hey, you look like this person." So like, it must be fairly accurate. But the problem is they've also seen Lucy, so it's like we can't just change her into like a different human entirely and be like, we just need to like change you a little bit, or like, I was thinking of like drawing on a poster, like a mustache. So the first thing Curtis is gonna do is try and like help with this disguise, in whatever way that you can.
Yeah, so far as makeup goes, you've done a good job of sort of changing her bone structure with sort of foundation and contouring and stuff. Also managed, I know nothing about makeup, and have also managed to sort of, maybe using sort of like charcoal, have dyed her hair a darker color. I got rid of some of the white streaks. She looks.
I thought you were talking about makeup then for a second. So maybe they use charcoal.
Well,
how do you do that? Charcoal.
Just paint, just like lead paint, just slap it all over there. That's how makeup works. And you have managed to alter that, but her clothing is rather distinct.
Yeah, time to get a different outfit, I think.
Yeah, so that's changed. What you're wearing, maybe just a couple of features, and no magic, obviously.
Of course. And
Why don't
needless
you
to
make
say,
it look
she'll be
like
good
you're
in the
gonna have a
process.
baby?
What?
What?
That's a really good disguise. No one's going to expect a lady that's gonna have a baby.
How?
Oh wow!
Honestly.
Thanks, Brexit.
No, that's let me just go see if I can
stuff a
find some
pillow in
clothing in one of
there.
the houses.
But
That's a very
Sarah just kinda like-
tricky thing to maintain when you have no idea how to pretend to be pregnant.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily a good idea.
No, let's
That goes into that. I mean, also Lucy, like real Lucy, could also be pregnant, I guess. So that might not put them off the scent. I'm not sure.
the stork came to visit you.
No. I'm going to see if I can find some clothing upstairs to
I
change
don't think
into.
Duran and Lucy have gotten that far yet.
No.
Also, my wild magic is that when I next teleport, I arrive fully healed. So, hey, thanks.
Teleport though?
Well, it's happened before. You never know.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened in the long run.
Okay, true.
Yeah, like
I mean,
Fucking
if your
hate
next
that.
wild magic surge is you teleport, there you go.
there you go. That's all I stuff.
Oh, don't. Like, I fully expect that to be the next thing that happens. So, I'm just looking up mine now as, so, Lucy, what do you pick out to wear?
She's just gonna look for something that looks like peasant garb, like something a person running the tavern would get. So, it's like a blouse, a dress,
There's
something
not
fairly
much
nondescript.
clothing left behind, but there's stuff like, almost like, not overalls, but like, workers' clothing that is badly damaged and stained, that hasn't been brought with, and it looks like almost like painters' overalls. As this place was redecorated at some point, had a bit of a makeover, and you find like aprons and sort of a few other bits and pieces like rags, maybe to tie your hair up or something.
Okay. Yeah, she'll piece something together out of that looks functional.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. I'm just going through my wild magic surges now for my NPCs, which I'm super looking forward to.
Oh, good. Meanwhile, while you're looking this up, Curtis is going to be preparing food and drink for the soldiers as promised, because they asked for food. So I'm going to go into the sacks of food that we have down there and start trying to cook up a gourmet meal.
Okay. How
Like I want some kind of medieval master chef.
Okay. Do you have any cooking utensil training or anything like that?
Cooking. Have I been trained in the use of cooking utensils? Not in a professional manner, but I have some experiential practice.
Experiential?
I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I've experienced the use of cooking utensils before. I wouldn't say that I haven't baked on a professional level.
Okay, right. In which case, give me a survival check to see what kind of you can throw together with the
See if
few
anyone can
ingredients.
survive this. That's a nat 20,
Nat-
baby.
Holy
Cooking
shit!
dumb food.
So when we're done here, Curtis is going to go become a chef and actually run a tavern.
Don't we have
I'm really
Gavin?
good at
Don't we
this.
have Gavin's spice or recipe book somewhere? Couldn't you just be
We
like?
have his exercise manual, which
Exercise
may or may
book.
not have.
that's it.
Maybe inside there's some good eating tips and stuff. You do also have a deer from earlier.
That's true.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose
What do
go
we do
grab
about
the
the
deer
tails?
and.
An idiot sandwich. Yeah,
Oh,
He's
my
good at it.
God.
I'll put together some deer stuff. It's like fried, maybe it's like salted because we killed it a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Okay, so you whip up, you know, tender sort of meat. You bring out sort of maybe like you cook up like a stew. There's some diced meat and, you know, bits and pieces, and the smell in this place is suddenly divine. Like, it is glorious. It's that kind of smell that wafts around the air and makes your mouth water, makes your stomach grumble. Even if you've eaten recently, you're just like, oh, it's enough to make your toes curl. It's just fantastic. As Curtis demonstrates that he is one hell of a cook when he actually has the right equipment around him and a few bits and pieces.
Damn it.
As this is happening, what is Sarah doing as Lucy is fixing herself up? And...
Sarah was trying to sneak into the kitchen and steal some of that delicious food.
Beat her with a spoon.
So she not so ceremoniously like tries to slowly push open the door, and like I feel like Curtis like knows that she's there. It's just like, oh, maybe she's coming into the room, and I'm just like, ha. And then he like kind of like Gordon Ramsay style like sticks his wooden spoon out and is like, don't you dare. Like, I'll hit you.
Oh, God.
She runs off out of the kitchen. And at that point, she will head outside of the tavern, and since the stairs kind of go down around the tree, she'll kick her feet out over and kind of dangle them and wait for the army to approach.
Okay. You see as everything's going on, Duran, last time you saw him, said he was going to go and get Calvin and warn him that, you know, the troops are coming, and they'd already shown interest, you know, let him know, see if he was okay. And he's off to what was a fairy brothel. And as all of this is happening, you go and sort of sit outside, and you see that there are massive columns of troops moving towards. And this isn't like a rabble that is moving. These guys march in crisp uniform. That they surge over the hills. They have cavalry. They have what look to be convoys of supplies, and you will even notice that they have siege equipment with them, which is probably something Sarah has never really seen up personal and close. They have trebuchets. You see like a battery, like a huge battering ram, and a variety of other almost like siege towers and stuff. But they're coming to essentially dig in here, and they are expecting to be fully supplied whilst they're here. So it's going to be it's going to be an interesting stay for them. And they are not coming half-heartedly. This is not a small expeditionary force. This is maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of troops, more than Sarah can count as they come marching in.
She can't help but be caught up in the excitement of it, and looks at these big rolling war machines and kind of takes out her bow, doesn't knock an arrow, but like imagines shooting just the right person and bringing the whole thing down, and kind of in the way that child's imagination works, you know, being a hero of some great war in her head.
If you're looking to be a hero, you're traveling in the wrong circles. But you...
What are you talking about?
We only have anti-heroes on our march. And Gavin.
And Gavin. You watch all of this coming forward. It's so painfully true. As they are coming towards you, inside, Lucy, this is actually from a little while ago, and there's been so many donations and craziness, but you find that as you're getting ready, you are accumulating company. You have what look to be almost like large ladybirds, but they are iridescent, like a beetle. They're sort of a blue-green sort of iridescent hue that begin to sort of land upon you in large numbers. They're not biting you or anything like that. They just come and they sit on you. and they begin to almost sort of like move across your clothing, under it, sort of all around you. It's a bit of a strange experience for yourself.
Yeah, she'll kind of poke them a little bit, but at this point, the weirdness of nature coming to hang out with her is getting to be less weird.
Well, so as you poke them, the second sort of like you go to sort of like prod it yourself, they seem to coalesce, and their shells seem to overlap. And as you push, you find that it's a physical barrier. As Lucy, you get a rather unique magical item. You have a entourage of beetles and small insects-like creatures that will not infest your clothing, but are going to travel with you, and they will grant you +1 to your AC, providing a degree of defense to yourself. But on top of that, they also will move with you through beast transformations. So when you wild shape, they will stay with you and continue to add +1 to your AC.
Neat. Thanks.
Yeah,
so she's... Yeah, I do remember that one. She's, as far as what she's gotten herself situated in, she took the shift, the dress that they got when they were staying with the elves, and basically kind of threw the apron over that. And so it looks like some kind of generic peasant garb that now has sparkling beetles on it, but hey.
Okay, so you find yourself grabbing bits and pieces, and you realize you sort of like look down, you look a little ridiculous, but then you realize that this is nothing that Lucy, that they know, would wear. Like, there's no way Lucy would wear.
It's not a uniform. It's not buttoned up.
No, it's not punctual and functional and smart, and you feel like you've done enough.
Yeah. So she'll head back down to where Curtis is and be slightly amazed at the wonderful smells coming from this kitchen.
Like, pass me the oregano.
This?
Quick, yeah, that. Check it in, and I'm like multi, dual wielding the herbs and spices right now. He's like dual wielding a pan while in his offhand he's got another like saucepan and stuff.
Yeah, because he's got one hand on a pan, he has to sprinkle the salt off his shoulder, off his elbow, just into the bisque.
Curtis just became salty.
into the bisque is like the intro to Out of the Abyss.
The culinary version. It's like you follow the standard adventurers, but like as they clear the place, you go in for the unique and exotic ingredients.
Oh, I love that. Yep,
I'd play that.
I'd play that. Yeah.
It's a cooking book waiting to be made.
As all this is going on, oh god, Lord of the Dong! I've just seen your title in the. Oh, god. So you season and sear and prepare this mighty feast, and like you're really like making your ingredients stretch as well. Like you have made a huge quantity of food in a very short amount of time, and anyone who comes in, like if you step inside for a moment, like Curtis will just collar you and just be like, I need you to watch this, saute these, do this, cut these, and it becomes a one-man army of the kitchen. And as you finally, Sarah, you'll see that the army approaching, various different groups are splitting up. The majority of them march straight towards the castle. You see others come to a halt in the field surrounding, but a large quantity of them begin moving into town, searching buildings. And you see a column of maybe 20, 30 or so men that march straight towards the building that you're currently in. And as they approach, you notice only one of them, who's walking off sort of alongside this column, glances up and sees that you are sat there, and he doesn't wave back, but he seems to acknowledge you, and with quick succession of hand gestures, he disperses a few of the men to go and check out the local areas, and then they begin to ascend.
Hand gestures, like they're just like go check out. Like, is it any kind of tactical stuff I could maybe?
Yeah,
I don't think there's a read for it, but having my soldier background, could I get the gist of it?
How's your wife?
Give me a wisdom check.
Just straight wisdom. All right, let's do it. Bam, 19.
90, damn, yeah, you know immediately, like, you, maybe, like, when your father was in training, he, like, as he came back and told you stuff, especially hunting, like, he had signals that he would give you, that he picked up in the military, that he taught you, so you could hunt together without having to speak to spook prey or anything like that. You see him, essentially establish that they're going to hold here in this tavern. He's going to set up an observation post. You overhear some of this as well, but mostly he gestures for the men to fan out and check the surrounding buildings directly adjacent to this one to make sure that they're clear of trouble.
But okay. All right, then. Maybe it's time that I go back inside, and I head back in, and I look around for Lucy. Lucy.
She has a wild magic surge.
Griselda. What's her name? What's her fake name?
Lavinia.
God. Lavinia. That's right.
Somehow I remembered that.
I did not. Lavinia. Lord, it seems that they're going around. Seems that they're going around and searching the buildings. They might be looking for you. Do you? Oh, do you want to be out in the open, or do you want to hide?
You know, I think I'll linger in the kitchen until I'm needed. Be a bit weird if I was just hiding the whole time.
Right.
Got to look like I'm doing
All
something.
right, then.
That is, of course, if the head chef does not mind.
He wouldn't even share.
As you guys
hungry.
As you guys are chatting, you hear the sound of heavy metal footsteps coming up the stairs.
Right, here they
there's
come.
Quite a few of them.
Right. Let's get some plates ready.
Yeah, Lucy will busy herself in the kitchen while I roll that magic surge.
As you guys, I guess it's currently just Sarah in the bar. The door swings open.
She's standing there
quickly.
like ready. Hello,
The
welcome.
door swings open, and there is a man standing there in full plate mail armor with a battle axe across his back. He is has a shield on his arm, and he wears no helm like the rest of them. All of them rest have sort of, full face helmets and look pretty prepared for a war, as opposed to some bandits and mercenaries and the like that you may have encountered. These guys look like professional soldiers, and he steps in and nods to you as more men begin to file in
I give him a
behind
soldier
you.
salute.
He smiles. It's not the most convincing of smiles, but he gives you a attempt at a warm smile and salutes you back crisply and says, "I'm looking to speak to the owner of the establishment."
Well, I'm one of the owners of the establishment, but I think what you really mean is that you want to speak to an adult, so I'll get somebody. And
nods.
she heads back to the kitchen. Hey, there's some people
Hey.
here.
Does anyone remember my
There's
fake
some people
name?
here. There's soldiers. Iago.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like brush I brush
Forget.
my penny down and like take it off as food is finished, and I come into the main tavern.
I
So
come
you
out with
step out, sort of like together. you have about 15 men who have come inside and are standing almost like in a line, awaiting orders. None of them take seats or relax or can't, like, just, you know, take a load off. They stand at attention. They have shields, none of their weapons are drawn, but their leader nods to you, gives a quick salute, and says, I'm looking to speak to the owner of this establishment. Would that be yourself?
That would be me, sir. How can I help? Oh, wait, no, I had an English accent. That would be me, sir. How can I help?
He nods, eyes you up and down for a moment to take stock of you, and he forces a smile and says, my name is Sergeant Dakar, and my men will need to search the premises.
Certainly. What are they looking for, if I might ask?
After the search, I'm fully prepared to answer any questions you may have, but in the meantime, this needs to be done.
Very well, very well. Look away, gentlemen. And I'll be, like, overly helpful with some, like, floorboards that are loose that we, like, used to store grain in, and I'll, like, open them up. Like, you might not see this on first inspection, and I kind of open them up for them so, like, they can see. I've, like, hidden everything, like, next... Like, if there's anything to hide, I've probably hidden it next door in the weird tree house or somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually too much I'd want to hide, but yeah.
Okay. They begin checking the building over, and they do so quite thoroughly. They don't quite go as far as, like, tearing open, like, any beds that are here, sort of, like, gutting the place. But they check the place over. You notice that one or two of these men aren't wearing the same armor. Most of them wear sort of either chain or splint, but one or two of them are just wearing formal attire, no armor that you can necessarily see, and they check the place over with them, and you will catch a drift of one or two of them casting magic to check for traps and magical items or anything like that. And finally, they come out. They will, Lucy, all of them will catch a glance at you at one point, but it appears that none of them look at you and immediately strike a resemblance to an individual that is wanted by the government. And finally, they come out and assemble in the main room, and Sergeant Dakar puts his helm down on one of the tables and adjusts his gauntlets.
Adjust.
Every name I pick, every random name.
No, I was laughing at the fact that he put his helm down on the table.
Oh, okay. Scandalous. He looks at you and says, what is your name, sir?
Iago, sir, yes.
Very well. I'll require some rooms. How many do you have?
I give him how many rooms we have.
10 or so, not many. Yeah. He nods and says, that'll be sufficient. We will, of course, compensate you for your accommodations.
Oh, very, very generous, sir.
Are you the cook?
Certainly, yes. I dabble.
Whatever it is that you've cooked, we'll take it. All of it. As much as you have to sell.
Yeah, yes, sir, of course. Might I ask what it was you're looking for? Perhaps I've seen some around town. There's been a few scavengers here and there that I've come across, and they've been, well, stealing all sorts, I have to say, sir. But if there's something that I could help you with, then, well, I'm at your disposal here.
I appreciate your cooperation. We're aware that there have been sightings of insurrectionists, is how they're being referred to. Cultists is what you might know them as in the local area. And also any remnants of the former governmental body of Rivercroft.
Oh. I like immediately think back to the body of Stavros that we burned like just today. I can't say I can think of anything like that, sir. But if anything comes by, I'll let you know. The rumor mill has been slow to tread around here, if you will, lately.
He nods and turns to address his men. You may fall out, take rooms. Make sure you're not. Everyone can double bunk until we are more situated. And the men begin to nod. Some of them take their helms off and like packs that they're carrying and make themselves comfortable around the bar. And you notice they group up, probably in friendship groups. You know, they fall into sort of small conversations, but mostly just seem tired after a long march.
Well,
As I got to do it for once! Yay!
how does it feel?
Dirty. It feels dirty. I feel unclean. He comes.
You should
and
feel
sits
bad.
at the bar. I do feel bad. I feel tainted. He comes and sits at the bar and looks to Curtis. Are you stocked to serve alcohol?
Oh yes, sir. Not as much as we might like, but perhaps with you and your men in the city, there'll be more opportunity for us to trade. I go and get him some drinks to play him with alcohol.
Yeah, he orders ale for a single flagon for each man. Nothing fancy. Doesn't want, just whatever house ale is, or
Sure.
And after sort of drinks are handed out, he sits down and takes out what appears to be almost like a journal, an inkwell and a quill, and begins to jot down, taking count of the men and making notes on sort of the surrounding room.
Yeah, I'd say, Captain, how long do you expect to be in the city for?
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
He nods, sort of like he looks like he's used to sort of correcting that statement, and he says, well, until a local government can be established.
Oh, I see. Very good,
You-
very good.
Local to the area? Have you been here long?
Yes, all my life, sir.
Give me a deception check. It's not a particularly high DC, as he's not entirely up to date with
All right.
local culture and names.
Well,
Okay, how do you slip
okay,
up?
I can do something to help.
Okay.
I have portent rolls. I can give him a better roll.
Okay,
Save
Would you
me.
like a
Save me
13?
divination.
give me.
I would love a 13.
Yay!
So maybe it's something simple like you say, I've owned the Silver Serpent my whole life, and he pauses for a moment, looking above the bar, which is not the name of this bar, and he glances to you,
Right.
and then you catch yourself like, oh, we've recently revamped, like, changed the thing over,
Rebranded, yeah.
yeah, rebranded, and I
Yep.
see. And what of the locals? You get me up to speed with what's happened in the last few months?
Well, sir, it's been a sad tale indeed. With no prince at the coronation, things started to take a downturn from there, and well, I'm sure you know the some of the parts in between. But since then, it's become looting and all sorts of ruffians in town. Most people leaving, I fear, in anticipation of your coming. But some of us are left here, those loyal enough to the land not to leave, but also those of us who see things differently, I suppose. I myself have been known to take up a sword in my time, and it's as good a living as any, sir. Recently, I've settled down, but you know how it is.
He nods, and after finishing sort of jotting a few of those bits down, he closes his book, and he puts the book away and seems to sort of like loosen, like he takes his gauntlets off and flexes his hands. And after checking on the men, like just swiveling in his stool to make sure that no one's causing trouble, they're a surprisingly quiet bunch. They make a lot of clinking and janking kind of noises as they, some of them take a few bits and pieces of armor off and relax, stowing their shields and going through and their packs. But other than that, it's quite muted conversation that's happening. And he, seeing that there's no trouble, turns to you, sighs, runs his hand through his hair. He's quite a gruff-looking figure. He's also quite short. He's only about 5'2", 5'3". He looks bigger in armor, but you get the feeling, he's not the broadest, biggest, most built kind of man.
Not the biggest boy.
No, but he's wearing fine armor that's a lot more scuffed than some of the other men's, and he seems to sort of take a load off for a moment. He savors a long draw from his ale, and he looks at you, seemingly to come back from wherever his thoughts have wandered to, and he says, "Did you serve in the war?"
Aye, sir, that I did. I did my part. Can't say it was a nice time, but well, when I came here and settled down somewhat, my late wife, God bless her soul, I like to be a place of refuge for men such as yourself. So I know the difficulties of the road, and, well, just finding a place where one can rest one's boots for even a few minutes, perhaps a night or two. I know what good that can do.
He nods, and he says, "Did you..." Not my place to ask, and I don't mean to cause any offense, but you seem to have sustained quite a few injuries. And he gestures to his own face.
Well, that's because I beat the piss out of him.
He suddenly turns and looks at Sam.
What? I bet I could take you too, she says.
Go.
Sort of standing there, hands on hips.
Someday I'm going to serve in the war. Just like you.
He chuckles at that and nods, and he sort of sizes you up. And you know how to wield a weapon?
I've done a thing or two in my day.
How old
I don't
are
know
you?
if you're ready for something quite this tough. I'm 14.
He smiles, and it's more genuine than his previous sort of quite stiff expression. And he says, "Well, you're a little young for our conscription, but one day, well, guess we'll get to experience how tough you really are."
Well, anytime you or any of your boys are ready for just a little bit of sparring, I promise I'll take it really easy on you. Curtis isn't much of a fight, you see. Look at his face. It's a bit embarrassing.
He looks around, confused for a moment.
Smile as I'm like, "That's not my name anymore."
What? I'm sorry. It's just that ever since that Mima and Pa died, I get confused real easily.
Yes, her. I look to him and say, "I've taken on something of a adoptive father's role ever since I knew the parents."
Curtis was my dad's name. Sometimes I still get confused.
Sarah, give me a deception check.
Sometimes I get confused.
Oh. Sorry. My other portent roll is not good.
Big sad face. Single tear.
Okay. This is 17, that's good. Well, do I have any nat 20s in the bank?
You have 6 of them by the looks of it.
Oh, do I now? Okay, fantastic.
No!
He nods and I see. Well, that must be difficult. I know we lost a lot of good men and women, and families were lost during the war. Curtis, he gives you that look, and it's just for a fleeting moment, like, you see that he doesn't buy what you just spun. But he doesn't push it. He just nods and checks on the men once again to make sure, and continues to drink and says, "How about that food?"
Yeah, I go and get them some plates of food
I'll
and
help
stuff.
you since there's a lot of people.
Yeah, when we go back
Lucy's
into the
been
kitchen.
plating in the back the entire time, so you can just like carry it out.
Yeah, when we're back in the kitchen, I'm like, Sarah, can't use my name. He suspects us already.
I think I should stay back
I'm
here.
just gonna beat him with my sword. No, that's the first time I get to see soldiers in forever. Please don't make me. I'll be good. I promise. I promise I'll be
Sorry.
good. Just let me go and see the soldiers, please, please, please.
Stop. Dear, just stop. All right?
All right. Can I roll for guilt
You
trip?
You can roll me a performance.
Can I?
You can roll me a performance.
Do I insight check this? Or
Is it 12?
On a 12, Lucy's natural passive cold-hearted bitchness that we discovered last week.
Rude.
Rude. Ah.
she has no soul. It's fine.
Honestly, Sarah.
As you guys, who's bringing out food? You all bringing out food, or just?
Well, I'm not allowed to bring out food anymore. I have to stay in the back because I can't see the soldiers. Lucy's a bitch.
Oh my god! Ooh,
Oh,
dang!
Sarah's entering
It's
her
very
edgy
salty in this
teenage
kitchen.
Too much salt.
It's not even like Curtis actually says that. He like sips the bisque for a moment, too much salt, and just like balances it.
Lemon juice. Yeah.
Do you want
I
me
go
to
take
help
out
bring
some
anything up there, or
yeah.
shall I hide?
No. Stay back. No word for risking it.
All right.
In case they recognize you. Start asking questions we don't want them to ask.
Good plan. I'll stay here and tend the kitchen.
Yeah. I go and give them some food and sort of lightly ply information about what their plans might be. You know, how many people can I expect?
Yeah.
You know, we're excited if there's going to be festivals back. You know.
Are you asking like the men as opposed to the sergeant?
Yeah, I do my sort of like, you know, barman's.
Yeah.
Go and give them free beers and start talking to them like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When
okay.
they give me the tab, I like give them a free shot, that kind of deal.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you choose either persuasion or deception, depending on sort of what method you think would work a little better to.
Well, the deception wasn't so good, but let's try it again. Oh, fuck me, it's a 9.
On a 9.
Why did I say that? Why did I try?
He nods,
myself out.
like you come over to a group that are sat having a conversation, and you give me a quick perception check as you approach, just to pick up sort of like what this group, they're set a little back from everyone else, not dressed any differently, although you see one of them is incredibly young looking, like looks probably a few years older than Sarah.
That's 12 on the
On a 12
perception.
You catch them talking about something, and the youngest one is saying like, what happened? And the other two men just sort of hush him down, and he's like, but seriously, that's crazy. Like, when? And one of them reaches over and basically like smacks his arm, and they turn and sort of smile appreciatively at you, but most of them just eyeing sort of the bowls of steam that are coming towards them and set down in front of them. And they don't just like dive in immediately. All of them pay you thanks, politely say, you know, we appreciate this very much. It's been a while since we've had proper hot food. It smells fantastic.
Family recipe. And I bowl along my way.
One of them calls out afterwards, says, make sure the Sarge doesn't borrow that off of you.
Friendly chuckles everywhere I go. I'm like Barry Chuckle.
You come back over. The sergeant will make sure he's served last. That the men get food first, and finally sits down with his bowl and asks for a round of water for everyone. As that's about the extent of their drinking, is a flagon of ale for everyone, and then they seem to be quite well disciplined. Not sort of your usual raucous, let's get shots at the bar, let's get 8 Jaeger bombs, let's fucking do this. He orders some food. And what do you charge them?
Oh, I don't know, normal tavern rates, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So he'll pay you. He'll pay you about 5 gold pieces for drinks, fantastic quality food. And rooms, and that's sort of will cover the full day of everyone staying here, on average kind of rates. He drops all of that on the bar for you and thanks you as he begins to eat hungrily.
Yeah, I probably just go to perpetually cleaning a glass at this point, thinking that I'll probably push them for all I'm going to get tonight.
NPC animation 101. You, after maybe an hour or so has passed, conversations become a little more open. You hear chatting, the occasional burst of laughter, the occasional punch of an arm, but not fisticuffs, no brawls break out or anything like that. And the sergeant remains at a bar drinking water. All of them, he makes sure they're topped up. And a couple of them, so far as ask for seconds. It's not quite Oliver Twist, but come up, seeing if there's any more out there. But
I help him out as best I can.
Yeah. In all this time, you know that Duran doesn't return. He ran off to go and get Calvin and bring him here, or at least let Calvin know, but he hasn't come back. One thing you will overhear, however, is a conversation between 2 of the men who are a little bit more relaxed now, and they're discussing casualties from their journey here. And they seem quite worried. One has barely eaten, and his friends who are sat round him keep patting him on the shoulder and trying to reassure him. And they keep making jokes and trying to get him involved. But eventually conversation turns to a friend of his, which apparently was wounded in an attack. And apparently a whole bunch of men, not hundreds, but maybe 10 or so men were grievously wounded in some kind of attack along the way, and haven't recovered in any way, and they can't figure out why. As a wild magic surge for my NPCs, this one was a beauty. They failed their saves, and all targets within 50 yards must save, or their wounds will never heal. Which is pretty shitty.
Save versus what?
You have to make a save. I designated a save for them, and they rolled a 4 for that group. So, they have been wounded horrifically and are not making any kind to recover. And there's a group that, they're pretty upset and a little melancholy, but other than that, for the rest of the night, it's pretty quiet. It's an average night in a tavern. Nothing crazy or wild happens. These guys, when they go to a tavern, they don't spontaneously make trees appear. Crazy shit does not explode all around them. Fairies don't take over, because they're just normal fucking people. And they finally begin one by one sort of retiring to their rooms, but no one really stays up late. They do, however, leave 2 guards on watch in the main area who are told that they will be relieved at an ascertained time. And there are two of them sat down here who just keep an eye on things. Make sure that, you know, no one comes in at night with orders or trouble, or, you know, can relay reports and stuff.
I'm gonna harass the shit out of them.
Okay.
No.
So
Where'd
Sarah,
you get your sword? How'd you learn to fight? Who taught you how to fight? Did they teach you how to fight in the army? Can I join the army? How old were you when you joined the army?
these
Are you
two
allowed to
men
talk?
look like bowled over by all these questions, and one of them seems to sort of fold his arms and smirk at Sarah's enthusiasm, and he says, "What's your name, kid?"
Frost.
Frost. Winter Child? Fair enough.
It's been a long winter. A bit of long march as well, you might say.
I can relate to that. How old are you?
I'm 14.
He smiles, and the other one sort of like chuckles to himself, and he says, "You're still a little bit young. We don't start conscription till 16.
But I've seen boys as young as 14 get in the army. Why can't I?
Desperate times.
Well,
We're lucky
I don't
there
think
won't be
it's-
times like that again.
I don't think it's fair that only boys are allowed to do certain things and girls can't.
Believe me, if you have some fight in you and you show aptitude, there'll be no difference between you and the boys or men of the units. It's all based on how you perform out there.
I guarantee that I could put just about anyone on the bums. She kind of flourishes her sword a little bit.
He looks impressed. Can I have a look at that?
All right. She kind of tosses it to him
He
gently.
Catches it with ease. It looks childish in his hand because he's wearing heavy armor and it's a short sword, so it like, in comparison to his size, it's quite diminutive. Looks like a big knife. But he takes it and he gives it a few simple swings and checks it. He looks around for a moment and sees that it's just you, that Curtis is busy cleaning the bar down, and he presses the edge of the blade against the table and just carves a small groove, maybe sort of a centimeter or so into it, to check its sharpness, and he nods and
You're
holds
gonna
it
have
out
to pay for that, she says, and then starts giggling.
he chuckles and we'll work something out. That's a nice sword.
I'm sure. Thank you.
You got two of them. You know how to fight with two blades?
That I can. I can
Would you
move
learn
faster
that?
than a lot of people think I can. Well, I just kind of taught it myself. My dad started trying to teach me, but... Well, after he was gone, I just kind of kept going.
He looks very awkward for a moment, and his friend is just like, oh shit, like, we fucked up for a moment as he sees you sort of, your face drops slightly, and he says, so, are you any good?
I don't know if there's anything I can really do to impress him at the moment. Well, why don't we take a walk downstairs and we can find out? Surely they don't need both of you to guard the gates. Not like we're going to cause a lot of trouble.
He chuckles and says,
Sarah reaches into her pocket and pulls out a couple gold pieces. Would you like to wager on it?
he looks a little surprised. There's quite a lot of money. And he...
These are from the
I
last
see.
people that I beat that didn't think that they could beat and thought that they could win.
Roll me
She
a
puts it
persuasion.
slyly back into her pocket. It's a 21.
On a 21, he chuckles and he leans in and says, the reason they only left 2 of us down here was because they figured, well, looks like you guys know how to handle yourself. A kid like you behind the bar, I mean, well, we're not going to need much more backup than you, are we? But I can't leave my post.
I wonder if I could, like, kind of run up the wall, jump, flip, and then land back down inside the tavern. I want to do something, like, crazy superhero style.
Okay, you can give me an acrobatics check, and I'll see what you can accomplish.
Don't fuck up, don't fuck up, don't fuck up. That's a 12. That's not a complete fuck up.
You managed to
she's
sort
14.
of, like, you managed to, like, roll very dramatically without stabbing yourself in the sword while it's drawn. And you come up sort of, like, blades up, like crossed, like, ah! And he laughs, his friend just claps slowly.
I feel like a kid that's just come out of like a superhero movie and is like trying to be their favorite superhero.
It's just like attacking the plants, just like yeah, with like sticks.
Yeah.
You come out of the roll, and they applaud, and he looks at you and says, "You got spirit, kid." My name's I haven't introduced myself. My name is Corporal Ross. This is Belloy. You are muted.
Ross, that's kind of a stupid name, don't you think? You know what I'm getting at. Inside joke, it's not.
Inside joke. He chuckles and says, well, it's the only name I've got, so it's not quite as cool as it's not quite as cool as Frost.
Frost.
You say Horst?
Frost. H-R-O-S-T. Okay.
Oh, Frost.
I simply named this character.
He nods, smiles, and well, maybe you could tell me. You noticed anything strange around town? I mean, you look like the adventurous sort of kid. That castle up there. You seen anyone in it since the coronation?
I mean, you've seen like the bandits and stuff that go in and out of the castle, but I hear there's ghosts in there. Why would you want to go in a castle that's full of ghosts? It's quite stupid.
He chuckles and I doubt very much I'll spend much time in there. Have you lived here your whole life?
I don't really know where I was from. I've traveled a lot, and I wasn't really too well traveled before then. And I just kind of ended up here. And they took me in, and they said that if I worked, I could eat, and it seemed like a pretty good deal. That's why I want to fight, you know? I don't want to just sit around being a girl in a kitchen. I'd rather be a man out in the army.
That's admirable. What about the woman who was here? The guy behind the bar seems to know what he's doing. There was a woman here earlier. Dark hair, tied up.
Oh, yeah. She's alright. Is she single? No. You should have seen how she shut down this other bloke. Oh, I have never seen something so cold hard in my life.
Oh, right. Well, don't worry, we're a little bit more disciplined than your average band of thugs. You, are they together? Do they own this place together?
See, you're asking me all these sorts of adult things, and I don't know what you mean by together. Are they like together as in like...
Are they married?
Or are they together as in like... I don't know. I don't ever see them kissing. It's not really like I want to get too involved with that kind of thing. That's gross. Gross. Asking me gross questions.
He holds up his hands defensively. He's just like, I'm just wanted to know what kind of people...
And I hold up my shield of deflecting questions.
My shield of I am a 14-year-old, and I'll just call you gross until you stop asking me stuff. He relents, like holds up his hand and just says, all right, look, it's getting late. You should probably get some sleep at some point.
I think that you're probably right. Now that I don't have to guard the door for once. Mind you, you don't screw up, otherwise it's going to be my ass on the line.
He salutes. He gives you a crisp salute. Yes, ma'am.
She heads upstairs, thinking that was close.
You hear them chuckling to each other as you walk away. Is anyone going to stay down and man the bar? What's your policy? Do you close the bar? Or?
No, I stay up as long as they want to keep it open.
These guys are gonna stay here essentially on guard duty. They're pulling a watch.
Oh, if they're on, if people like stop drinking, then I close the bar at like a reasonable hour.
Okay, like it's like getting maybe to midnight or something, and you're like, you know what, we're gonna call it here. They nod and they politely tell you, won't be us on duty in the morning, but we'll keep an eye on the place for you.
Oh, thank you, sirs, very much. I think it's time for me to get some rest. And I'll, like, hobble off. As though I've got some more injuries. Because I look like fucking, like... Yeah.
You also
I look like
rubbish,
The village, like, fucking scary-looking dudes, probably, so... Yeah. I hobble off to my,
most appropriate choice for a bartender.
Yeah. I look like the fucking Phantom of the Opera, like, sans mask. Now, so I head down into my little cavern and my room or something like that.
Yeah, you've got a room upstairs. There's like a big, it was like Artie's personal room, so a huge four-poster bed that is fixed in place, so he hasn't taken it with him. But there's like mattresses and a few bits that are still left behind, but nothing good, nothing particularly comfortable. Just the affixed furniture has remained.
Right.
You guys can all take a long rest if you want.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, as morning comes, you guys are rather rudely awakened by a lot of noise outside. It's not fighting or anything like that. It's just men in armor moving around and checking their gear, strapping pieces of their armor back on and fastening swords and stuff. They are making kind of a racket, and they're up at the break of dawn. Like, these guys have a routine that they stick to.
I get up and I cook breakfast, and
everyone orders, like all of them are just like, and most of them are just like, meat. I want meat.
I'm like mentally jotting down names and friendships and relationships and backgrounds, paying particular attention to the Captain Drakkar,
Sergeant.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucy, for the most part, is going to basically live in the kitchen and make like she's working in there as much as possible.
Okay.
Breeze in and out occasionally to serve and do so quickly, but mostly keep to herself in there and listen to what conversation she can pick up.
I keep the nature of my relationship with everyone else ambiguous, so that like we don't get conflicting stories.
No one confirms a story and then confirms another story.
Yeah. I don't make up any extra lies until I need to. Yeah.
Okay.
I will be right back.
Okay, so food is made and everything like that. At one point, actually, Lucy, two of the men come into the kitchen. They don't have, they're not storming the kitchen or anything like that. They come in, you note that they don't have all of their armor on. Their shields aren't with them. They're still armed. But they step in, knocking loudly on the door as the door is now open. And, excuse me,
Yes.
ma'am.
Could I get you something?
We were
Sorry,
actually
who-
wondering if we can be of any help.
Oh, I think I've got it, actually. But, if you were in a bit of a hurry, I'm happy to fix something for you and take it out.
They shake their heads and, keeping the place clean, anything like that. We're used to a little bit more of a busy lifestyle.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, you know what? We are running a bit low on the firewood for the hearth. Would you mind chopping some for me? That'd be helpful.
Nods and, of course. I'll send out some men
Thank
and
you.
make sure you're stocked.
Yes, thank you very much.
And they politely nod. One of them lingers slightly in the doorway. You see him kind of look around. He just looks sort of, curious as opposed to sort of suspiciously scanning the bar,
Sure.
the kitchen.
Yeah.
But his
She
friend
just
calls
gives
out
kind of
for
a-
him
She gives just kind of a shy but polite smile and gives him a nod.
and he smiles to you, and then hears his friend holler at him, and he, sorry for disturbing you, and he makes sure he closes the door behind him. In the morning, Sarah, what are you up to?
As you can see by my amazing stealth roll, I am attempting to steal more food from the kitchen. So,
Okay.
Smack.
And failing, spoon,
Yeah.
out ladle.
Yeah.
Soon,
Lucy will
yeah.
just smack her with a cloth. Just kind of whip her on the hand.
Yeah. I walk out of the kitchen, like, rubbing my hand, looking dejected, stomach grumbling. I don't understand. All I just want was a little bit of bread. So cranky. Where is everyone?
They have all marched down into the bar. The place is pretty packed. As you come out into sort of the main area, you notice they're not quite as encumbered as yesterday. Most of them haven't, put full armor on. They have their chest pieces on, greaves, and boots. But other than that, they're all still armed. The shields are sort of piled by tables. They are making jokes, and some of them just have that look like you recognize, Sarah, of just the older soldiers are just sort of hands in heads, just like it's too early. It's too fucking early. It's daybreak. Like, I just want a couple more hours, Kip. But food is being served, and they seem in relatively good spirits, actually.
Okay.
One of the men looks over and actually spies you, Sarah, and he says, "Horst." And you notice it's Ross from yesterday, and he waves you over for a moment.
Morning. Are you guys going to be going down to the trebuchets today? Can I come with you? Can I look at the war machines? I promise I won't get in the way. I just want to look.
Also, 2 wild magic surges for Lucy from Andrew.
La, 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 la. Of course. Thank you so much.
Please don't blow us up, Lucy.
Again.
Again.
You guys are all looking rather dour. How about I tell you all a joke? I think it's a really funny one. What you call a cow with no legs? Call it ground beef.
There's riotous laughter from a lot of the guys. Anyone who doesn't laugh is punched and begins to laugh as they really belly laugh, like properly throw themselves into it.
That's all right. I know that you guys have had a long road and everything, but you're in good place now with good people. I promise we're going to serve you guys the best food and the best ale, and you're going to be leaving here with your hearts and your bellies full again, and the world's going to seem a bit of a brighter place. All right?
I'm really afraid of these wild magic surges. Hold up, there we go. Oh, damn.
Sorry, does that just?
Sure. So apparently her toes become gangrenous. That's fun. And the next door that she opens leads to a filthy and fetid stable. Because wild magic.
Gangrenous
Because
toes.
wild magic.
Lucy, as you get up to check, like you take food out, you open the door to take food out and find yourself walking into a stables that smells rancid, with a couple of horses that you can see are in still have sort of knight's regalia upon them. Yeah. You hear sort of like noises. You notice that the doors aren't open, and you have no idea where you are suddenly.
Oh, well, okay.
Is the tree visible from here anywhere?
You're inside.
If I
a barn,
look outside,
essentially, or a
if I were to
stables.
look back outside, or
If
back
you,
through the door.
If you look back through the door, you can see your kitchen.
What in the world? I don't. I should just sit down and not go anywhere.
Just gonna back into the kitchen slowly.
Okay.
And it's probably a little painful with gangrenous toes, but you know, we'll figure that out when she takes off her shoes.
You've here's the problem. You've been walking around in boots, and it's been a long time since you were dry.
Yeah.
Lucy, you may have a mild case of trench foot coming on.
Oh, delightful.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're out on the road quite a bit. I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah,
Happens
she's
to
just
us.
going to shut the door.
You close the door.
Maybe open it again and look.
There's a room full of very hungry soldiers.
Shut the door. Look at the door a really long time.
Stay.
Personal. Have I done something to offend you?
Open the door. Stick an arm out.
I really want it to just be a sign in an empty closet that just says yes. No, you open the door and there are soldiers sat, and you see one of them look over towards you and like waves to you. And looks to the men, sort of like elbows the men, like food is coming. Food is nearly here.
Everything all right? It's coming right up. I think.
They nod, sitting there
She'll go
eagerly,
back into the kitchen.
rubbing their hands in anticipation for proper food.
She's gonna leave the door open and go collect the food and go try to bring it out this time. With a very careful step over the threshold.
You step through, nothing strange happens whatsoever.
Okay.
Because, yeah, every now and again, crazy shit happens to Lucy.
Sometimes trees don't like her as much, or things made of trees, like wooden doors.
Yeah, this is true. It was once a tree.
Yeah, she'll just deliver the food to the soldiers and
They
head on back in.
They
Or try
thank you. A couple of them just sort of, if you need anything, we sent some of the guys out for firewood, and they should be back soon.
Oh, thank you very much. Have any of you been in the stables lately, by any chance?
Points over to one of the men. None of us have, but trying to think of the name. Capazzo. Where did that come from? Capazzo has a friend who's one of the cavalry, serves in the cavalry. You could ask him.
Oh, wonderful. I hate to ask it as a favour, but we are rather short-staffed, so some help cleaning the stables might be good. I think they're getting a bit rank.
Oh, he says, don't worry. That's one of the things that being in cavalry is nice, but having to mess everything out, not my cup of tea. They'll clean it up, don't worry.
Understand. Much obliged. Thank you. Excuse me, I'd better get the next round going.
Of course.
She'll head on back.
He nods thankfully and just tucks into his food. Is anyone doing anything specific this morning with the men other than sort of, keeping an eye on them, serving, listening for conversations?
I'm going to be making a big deal of training downstairs. Showing off my sword skills in front of the soldiers, because, that's what Sarah's all about.
Balloy comes over to you and he says, the other day you were saying about having a dust up, having a bit of a spa.
Right.
We'll be sorting out some training areas in town. We'll probably find some time to swing by.
Yeah. And Sarah's just like overwhelmed at the idea of going to a real training camp with real soldiers. I can do, yes, sir. And she salutes and like drops her sword partway in the process, and she's just overly giddy.
It is now like making that dong noise as it sits point down in the floorboard, just wobbling from side to side slightly. And he chuckles, picks it up, and hands it to you.
I promise that I'm a lot better than you might think.
He holds up his hands, and I don't doubt it. We'll let you know when they're ready. Well, you won't be able to come while the rest of the men are training, but we can get some of the lads together for some, call it extracurricular. I'll tell you what, if you manage to knock a couple of men on their ass, I can point out some people who probably think they can take you and probably can't.
I reckon that I could have a go with that young lad that was sitting here last night. I think I saw him stealing some of the other people's ale.
He scans his brain and just... Oh, yeah, he's only a little older than you. Not as tough, I can tell you that.
I don't think there's anyone on this side either that's as tough as me.
He chuckles to himself. Looks like he wants to reach out and ruffle your hair and then doesn't. It's just like, nah, I should probably actually swing for me. Well, I tell you what. Yeah, maybe one of the new recruits like him. He's still a bit starstruck by all of this. Fresh out of camp, so it'll be a good partner for you.
The green ones are always the hardest to train. That's alright. He'll toughen up eventually.
He leans back and nods, sort of smiling, and you know your stuff, kid. Alright. Well, I'll see what I can do. We'll arrange maybe a little tournament or something. And he smiles, nods, and he turns, and before he turns, he pauses for a moment and gives you a quick half salute, and goes to rejoin his friends who are sort of joking around, and one of them waves over to you. There's quite a few of the guys who seem to sort of be quite amused by you.
Damn it, I really just cannot pull off anything flashy today. Come on, D20s.
Come on. So, as the day sort of passes by, is anyone else doing anything this morning?
If word comes back to me about this, tournament, I excitedly start to arrange for, ales to be presented. If it seems like there's going to be lots of bets and wagering, that kind of thing, then I'll be all over that and starting to get ready. Like, maybe if there's like a training yard nearby or like a rallying point where like people, public events could be held, and I start like organizing that to take place.
Yeah, just outside the castle, within the castle grounds, there is a large area that was for jousts and that sort of thing, which
Right.
they
Perfect.
the sergeant will kind of mention that it's being renovated essentially to
Right.
proper standard. But he says, yeah, that would be appreciated. We could use some food and ale, something for the contestants.
I'll ingratiate myself with them as best I can by making myself useful.
He nods and looks at you, and do you still fight?
Oh, can't say that I've tried my blade in a while, but I suppose I could.
Oh,
If it's an open tournament.
yes. I think we'll put something together for the locals. See if anyone would be interested.
Yeah, very good idea, sir.
He smiles. We need to move out today. We'll be back later on tonight, but maybe
yeah.
not everyone will be returning. We've got to go and receive orders, so I'll make sure that
I see.
we don't blindside you with a horde of men.
Oh, the more the merrier, as they say.
He nods and holds out a hand for shaking.
I shake his hand and set about these
Yeah.
preparations.
Yeah, he gives you a firm grip and nods, and then he turns around and he barks out some orders to the men who, some of them look a little groggy and sort of not really with it, but they pretty quickly shape up, begin to strap into armor, don shields and grab packs, and he marches them out with due haste. And a few of them sort of spend a moment nodding to anyone in the bar, Lucy or Curtis, just to in way of thanks for your hosting ability. And pretty quickly the door closes and you are greeted by the sound of men descending down the branches and filing out. It's still it's probably 8 a.m. It's very early, but they head off, and you are left in peace in your tavern.
Come back to the group. Well, that went better than I was hoping it would go. No one's dead.
Always a good day when you live through it.
Yep, that's... And there's some kind of tournament that they're organizing, coming back, they're receiving orders. I think we've ingratiated ourselves enough. Maybe if we can prove that we're useful, they'll see to recruiting us in this tournament.
Right. Well, all of you, anyway. I probably still shouldn't have my face seen.
Yeah.
Not sure how to handle that.
Every army needs a camp followers and the like, so maybe even if I don't prove myself as a fighter, they want me to come with them as a cook or a chef, some kind of helper.
Certainly seem to have a skill for it. Hidden talents.
I've dabbled in my time.
Don't sell yourself short, it was quite delicious.
Thanks. So I wonder where Duran and Scott himself do. Hope that Calvin's alright.
They've been away an awful long time. I'm a little worried.
Yeah. We should probably look at checking on them at some point.
Right.
So,
well,
you can...
Hiya!
You seem to be having a wonderful time, Sarah.
What?
Oh.
These kind of people, they're really trusting. They actually seem quite nice. I imagine that the army was going to be full of assholes.
No. Not everybody.
They're just like regular people.
Speaking of people who are just like regular people.
I'm so not. Hello. Sorry about that, everybody.
Squall. It's all right. It's all right. At least you're here now.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm here, back from the airport in insanity. But
Oof.
yes, hello, how are you? I'm playing Calvin, I think, still, unless he's dead.
Mac is still
No,
here.
he's made it. He's
So far.
still alive. We got that going for you. We kept it
He's actually
together, buddy.
missing. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know. We haven't seen him. He could be there.
Yeah, we don't know. Presumably, he is still alive.
We're
Maybe.
going to cut away to Calvin now, actually. Calvin, last night, well, we're going to flash back to last night. A large group of soldiers arrived. And by large, I mean an army arrived early, much earlier than you guys were expecting. Duran comes rushing to find you, pulls his way up, sort of, I guess your like lift, and he comes in and sort of says, Calvin, they're early. Really fucking early.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. How many? Scouts are like the whole damn shebang of them.
They're already sending riders. I saw 20, maybe 30, hell, 40 cavalry coming our way, and I estimate a couple of thousand, maybe 10,000. We don't know how many are in the wings, but they've got siege equipment, they've got towers, they've got trebuchets, marching in formation, and they're heavily armed and armored. They're not fucking around.
It's the whole fam damnly, ain't it?
Yeah. They're making preparations over there, but well, you better get this place in order. Looks like they'll be searching the place.
Well, fairies took about everything with them. I don't have a whole lot here, but I got some dry rooms and some entertainment, I guess. And we'll just make do and do what we can with what we got. So, how are they doing over there? How bad does it look? They gonna buy it? They gonna buy that we're here to help and not just throw us in chains or conscript us and throw us on as fodder for the cannons or whatever the hell they're gonna throw at us?
Curtis is trying to get things organized. Sarah's hyperactive. I don't know.
Well,
Do you need any help here? Is there anything I can do? Barman, something?
Well, if you can start sorting out what little we got to drink over there into something that looks something that looks like something, that'd be mighty fine. I'd appreciate it.
All right. And he starts going, like, taking inventory of what you guys have got in stock here and laying out sort of clean cups and flagons and glasses and, whatever there is around, and checks, like, barrels are tapped. He doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. He's drank in a lot of bars, but he's never been a barman himself. And checks, like, tables are stacked and everything. Are there any preparations you want to make personally as you hear troops, like, marching, you hear trumpets in the distance, and you hear cavalry approaching rapidly?
Can he... well, I mean, first thing, he's gonna just try to get rooms and, even kind of take stock of what all he's got that might even be something. But as far as himself, he is... look around. He's got some clothes that he had stolen from the town and that were left behind. Actually, he uses his glamored leather armor and sort of transforms it into a what looks like a barman type outfit, sort of a white shirt with a vest. He's got sort of like one of those sort of ribbon ties around it, sort of gets a little southern gentlemanly look going on about it, and tries to look very hospitable. He sort of gets his actor training on to sort of be the little bit sort of smarmy, lick spittle type host. Basically figure if he seems as kick-aroundable as possible, that he might pass unnoticed, or even though with his little bit of activity he's been doing, I mean, he's still pretty slender guy, and as of yet, and gonna try to make him look just about as non scary, not intimidating as possible.
He looks at you, sort of seems impressed. You notice that he's wearing odd clothing. He's not wearing his armor. He has a bag full of his stuff with him, and he has his sword on his hip, but he is currently wearing a flowing white shirt with a very deep torn V in it, and quite tight black pants. He looks a little odd, as like now you've not been told like the army has arrived, like this is happening, crazy shit. Like you actually realize that Duran looks odd. His hair is slicked back. He yeah.
And what the hell are you wearing? That's like something I'd wear. Or hell, one of the fairy boys who was in here, or Angel Cock, right up his alley, with the leather in the V. You trying to blend in, or hide yourself, or get yourself noticed?
How high up is this place? 40, 60 feet?
Oh, I thought it was more like 100. I thought the redwood was way up.
No, the redwood's gone through this place, so
that's right.
Up
so we're not. Yeah, we're not way up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're only a little bit up. So yeah, 60 feet, sure.
Yeah, he nods. You reckon if I chucked you head first from it, you'd survive?
Probably not, but there's the guy I'm looking for, who I want behind my bar when all the shit hits down. Good to know. And he's still inside all that slick leather and hair glue or whatever you got going on up there, buddy.
He like clearly doesn't want to talk about it as he leans on the bar and says, "What are we doing about names?"
Well, yeah, what am I calling you?
I don't know.
You can call me K.
K, right. I'll be J.
Oh, well, that's going to be cute, aren't we? I should change my armor so we look like twins. And with it, he changes the glamored leather so that they're the same. Here's the deep V. Won't we be a pair? K and J. We don't look nothing alike, boy. I shouldn't call you boy. I shouldn't call him boy. We don't look a thing alike, but I mean, hey, war makes brothers out of the most unlikely of people. So,
all right.
Sure.
What are you going to do about that? And he points to your instrument.
Hey, bards, believe it or not, usually can pass just about anywhere. I've played for the army before. I've played for fairies before. Heck, the other night I was playing for a drow in that before they skedaddle out of here.
All right. Well,
speaking of, I found it kind of interesting that there'd be some drow hanging about quite so openly. They seem to have gotten themselves along. In your dealings and listenings in your former occupation, did you hear anything about a Xena and a Kalruk?
Shakes his head. I don't know any names, but I knew there were drow here. Wasn't exactly
it was a drow and a moon elf.
Yeah.
Real sexy up with that female there. Not up my alley, but she was certainly up someone's alley.
Right. You done?
Now I can chat like this all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, I know you can. Save it for the soldiers.
That's how I plan on surviving.
Well, with regards
You can go scowl behind the bar. I'll try to make these soldier boys welcome here. Maybe they won't kill us on sight.
He nods and says, the drow were here from Ironheart. Ironheart has some trade council or something. That's all I knew about him. Didn't really get out much to drink in the Serpent before fucking everything happened, but yeah. And as sort of an awkward silence falls between you, you guys hear splashes and hooves and horses whinnying as they come to a stop at the bottom of the establishment, and Duran says, I suppose I better go lower the lift. And he...
Yep, they're probably going to want us to pull their up here. Let's hope they're not wearing plate.
He gets over to the edge, looks like as he's lowering the lift down, he turns to you and, you had to fucking say it, didn't you? And he just continues to lower it down.
You don't say it, then it's a surprise. I'd rather be prepared. Ah, well. Let's go see what's in store.
Duran continues to winch it, but you know that they also pull themselves up as well. You don't have to just, have someone on the winch. And yeah, after a few, like when it gets near the top, he stops. And there are 5 men in full plate armor. They have short bows and long swords on their hips. No shields. And they come up, sort of step off onto the platform, and he gestures for them to, make yourself at home. And they file into the bar.
Well, what can we get you boys? Don't have much. Not a lot left. Most people skedaddled out here and stole half of it on the way.
The guy in the
ale
lead,
is shit. The whiskey's watered, but it'll do.
The guy in the lead nods. He doesn't look the smiling type at all, and he looks around the place. We need to search your establishment immediately.
Help yourself.
You, upstairs. You two check down here.
Anything you're looking for? I been trying to see what I could find in here. I might be able to point you in the right direction. Just here to help you out, guys. I don't want to cause no trouble.
He folds his arms, looking at you, and seems to sort of give you the once-over. What's your name?
Me? I'm Kay.
Him?
Oh, that's Jay, my brother.
Right.
Not the same mother, of course, but...
You own this establishment?
Well, it depends on how you define own. Let's say the previous residents decided to get the hell out, and then they had they basically threw me the keys. Took what they could carry, and I don't think there's a deed around this whole place anymore. I mean, heck, there weren't many deeds left after the big war, much less this, whatever. Coronation gone south or west or east, or like I said, I don't want no trouble from y'all. I'm just didn't feel like walking no more. It's been 10 years of a mighty long march, and I didn't want to take another one.
It's 3 times. He nods. He sort of looks around, and after a little while, the men come back, and they just shake their heads, and he nods. You said it was Kay?
Yep, that's me.
We're searching the area for an individual. And he reaches out to one of the men and takes a scroll and he spreads the scroll out, holds it in front of you. We're looking for a wizard. And Lucy looks out of the picture at you. There is a 5,000 gold piece bounty on her head.
Well, I know that girl.
He blinks.
She's skedaddled with the rest of them. She went to iHeart. Can't be more than 2-3 days ahead. More than 2 or 3 days ahead of you.
Roll me a deception check.
Them enemy betrayals.
I was going to use it, but I want to roll it. Let's see how good old Calvin's doing today. That's a 23.
Okay, I am not going. In honor of you using it, I will not use one of my nat 20s. Let's see. He looks you up and down. He looks angry, and he turns to one of the men and just says, "Report this back to the Major now."
She's trouble. How do you think this inn got in this tree?
He pauses, looks around, and nods and says, "I was wondering if you'd be able to inform me of just how it happened."
Well, one day this here inn was sitting on the ground, and the next morning it was up halfway up this damn tree. That's about all I know about it. This type of magic, I can sing a song or two and do a little bit of that.
You're a bard.
But, well, yes, sir, I am.
How many rooms do you have here?
Well, there used to be 12, but 6 of them have an arbory. Kind of, we call them the greenhouse rooms, but the other ones are still intact.
He looks around quite clearly, face full of disdain, and nods and says, "I need you to post this by the bar where everyone can see." And he hands you the wanted poster.
Oh, hey, I can just the spot for it. I walk over and dunk, dunk, dunk right into the tree.
It's right there. Your bar is like, the back bar is split in two by the tree. You hammer it in place, and Lucy looks out, placid, not smiling, not upset, not angry or anything. It's a good picture of her. It's a very good picture of her. And he
kind of looks at it. That's a mighty fine likeness. That y'all did some magic in to do something like that? I'm sorry, maybe I'm intruding. I didn't mean to intrude. I'll buy you around. I'm sorry.
He nods and he smiles cruelly, and that would be fantastic. As
do you want the shitty ale or the watered down whiskey? That's all I got. I'm sorry, buddy.
He sort of wrinkles his nose for a moment, turns around to one of the others and orders them to sort of bring the rest of the men up as they begin rising up, and about 10 or so men come in, all of them wearing heavy armor, all of them armed very similarly. This guy has an insignia on his shoulder, on his pauldron, which denotes him as a corporal, and he starts sort of dismissing the men sort of to go left and right and make themselves comfortable, and they sit down and basically make themselves very comfortable in your establishment. And he says, "We'll have a round of ale and some food."
Hey, Jay, start. Tell you what, I'll pour the drinks. You can cook.
Duran just gives you daggers and nods as he heads out back to the small kitchen.
I got some salted. It was an elk, wasn't it? Wasn't it an elk? What was the giant thing that Lucy killed?
Yeah, it was an elk. Yeah.
I've got some salted elk. It's a bit gamey and tough, and we got most of the mold. It's fresh.
Duran comes over to you and stands right beside you. The others took the elk.
Well, I ain't got no elk.
I'll see if we got any bread or something, he says dejectedly as he walks out to the kitchen.
Well, if you give me a little bit of time, I'm sure we can mix up some stew, some gamey stew. I'm not going to mention about what kind of game is in there, but as you most likely know, in deserted cities like this, there's many a critter that can go in a pot.
The corporal looks at you disgusted for a moment and shudders. Just, very well, whatever you can donate.
Oh, don't you worry, I got some fairy seasoning that we can throw in there. Just, you don't want to know where it was before. You ever been to a fairy brothel? And just sort of
turns and just looks at you like you've grown another head, like, excuse me?
You know, fairy brothel.
No, I don't know. Enlighten me.
Well, those fairies, they know how to show someone a good time, that's for sure, depending on what your good time is all about. Buy most anything at a fairy brothel.
He looks at you disgusted and just says, have you no shame?
No, sir, I don't. Shame costs money, and I don't got no money, so I ain't got no shame.
He just looks disapprovingly at you, and unless there's anything particular you want to do, they are going to shack up here for the night. There is not a single drop of coin on your bar. They offer nothing.
During this time, I've been speaking with him to get him to speak, to make sure that he has been speaking for long enough for me to memorize his voice with my actor skill.
Oh, he talks. He talks a lot. And you get the feeling, like, you get the caliber of this. Give me an insight check on him.
Insight. 14.
14, this guy's a dick. And the rest of the men that are with him, there are only one or two of them who aren't equally shitty people. They make themselves comfortable. They scrape boots off, like, the mud off their boots on the edge of, like, stools and chairs and furniture. They soil, like, the sofa. Like, these guys take no care of your baby, unfortunately. They are not the nicest of people. But he has quite high opinions of himself, and they seem to, maybe not wholeheartedly, but they seem to follow him with some degree of, he's important to them. He's a bit of a climber, you get the feeling.
Yeah, do I recognize any of this insignia that is upon him? Or rank?
He has, he's a corporal. He serves in the Breckendow. All of them have sigils of Breckendow on their armor. Other than that, no other details that you jump out at you.
Of course he's a corporal. Corporals are all, yeah. I will start referring to him as the corporal.
He will inform you his name is Corporal Victor.
Corporal Victor. Well, that's a mighty fine name there, Corporal Victor. I thank you for sharing it with me.
He looks down at you, sort of like sneers down his nose at you. But other than that, they don't engage you in conversation. Duran brings out some food. There was some... You managed to get the fairies out quick enough, and you did well enough that they actually left some stuff behind. So you have some supplies. Not much, maybe enough for a few weeks, as long as you're not, you know, dishing out everything for free and in large quantities. They eat. He complains about the quality of the food quite a lot, but you smell it, and I mean, Jay will bring you out some food, put it down in front of you. It's pretty good eating. It's not, you know, high cuisine, but it's okay.
Could be worse. You could be eating those Earhart snails. I hear they eat snails over there. Make you just as sick as a dog. That's what I hear. Corporal Victory. I'm going to call you Corporal Victory because I'm sure you are leading your men to victory. You are going to go far, my friend.
He rounds on you as you say that, but then you finish the sentence, and he suddenly like changes his demeanor entirely. He goes from like, "How dare you take my name in vain," to "Corporal Victory." Yes. Well, I'd like that. Someone's
He's gonna
like
change his
that.
name by default, just like me.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm going to be writing songs about you one day, Corporal. I bet I'm sure of it.
He nods, snaps his fingers dramatically. Play for us.
Well, of course.
Fucking snaps at waiters. Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
This guy.
Waiter,
Let's go.
snapper.
I rolled to see
Classic
who-
waiter snapper.
Classic waiter,
I love how
snapper.
everybody got instantly angry in that moment. Like we all,
Because
that
we've
is
all
really,
been-
like
We've all heard that
scary.
snap. You know that?
Everything else is like,
No.
yeah, you're a dick, but that is like, man, he's true
Like-
evil.
True evil. So yeah, I'll sing up my old she's just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight wagon going anywhere. So I do that one that I composed from earlier.
He listens, and like you get a little heckled. These guys are not particularly nice, but a few of them are literally just like happy to be sat down by the fire. The guys around the fire who are warming themselves, they've taken a few bits of armor off. He almost pretty much takes all of his armor off, settling in, making himself very comfortable, and they claim rooms. Unless there's anything else you want to do, they are sleeping here tonight.
Nope. I try to look as just about as lick spittle and kiss assing as possible.
They don't seem particularly interested in ascertaining your motives. They seem very happy that you know how to take an order, and they lord it over you. Duran grinds his teeth a couple of times, but says nothing. He's used to working for an arsehole. And when morning comes, after you
That could really be taken out of context.
he makes his way out sort of their rooms, and they form up. And he turns to you and says, "We will be staying here for the foreseeable future until I can make other preparations. But we have to go and check in."
Well, we'll try to get get some fixings put together and have some good food for you when you come back. And heck, if you do find any provisions out there, we will throw them behind the bar and serve them right up to you. We got if you can bring the kegs, we've got the glasses.
They look at you disapprovingly for a moment, and they begin to file out without any comment.
He helps them with the lift, get them down back to the ground floor.
Duran, as the final of them file out, Duran takes you inside and says, "I slipped out last night. Didn't get very far. There's patrols in the street at night, and they're already setting up camp. They've taken the castle, and they've got men posted at the Silver Serpent, or the March's End, whatever the fuck it's called. We should probably check in, make sure they're all right."
Yeah, while they're gone, I'm head up the road, see what's going on, see how they made out. So I lower myself down and head up to March's End.
There's loads of activity in the street. Men are like linking up with larger groups and marching back towards the camps. A couple of them come out of buildings, which looks like they've taken as bunk houses, essentially. Horses ride past, splashing you, like very little regard to foot traffic. And you see that there is a camp that stretches across most of the hillside. This place is busier than it was for the coronation. There is a huge army. There are camps, tents, command tents. There are siege equipment that is being like prepared or maintained or something. But there's a lot of activity focused around the castle as you approach. You see that there is a huge body of soldiers, not huge as in sort of army size, but maybe 20 or so men filing out of the the March's End. And they come out, a couple of them nod to you as you're sort of a pedestrian walking down the street, and head off towards the castle, which a lot of groups seem to be focused in that general direction. And Duran says, well, that was a lot of folks, but I didn't see them with anyone in chains. We should go up.
Yeah, see how this is all played out. So Calvin heads in, sort of looks around, sees if he can find Curtis.
You see them there standing together in the bar, all three of them. None of them seem injured. Curtis looks like shit as always nowadays, but Lucy has dyed her hair charcoal black. No grey streaks. Base looks slightly, she's wearing heavy makeup. She's changed her outfit. She's now wearing sort of a kitchen cook sort of attire. Sarah looks as Sarah does. Curtis is slightly less armed and armoured visibly, but you guys come in. Duran just pauses and heaves a sigh of relief in the door.
See ya.
Oh, you're all safe.
They're looking for you, girl.
I know.
She gestures to the poster that's on their wall.
Oh. That's... Oh, how long do you think this is going to last before one of them sobers up or smartens up?
We survived so far. She's at least looks a little different.
Trying to stay out of the way as much as possible.
Yeah. They seem to mean business. I got a right asshole who's made camp in my place.
Oh, so we're okay. Friendly, at least.
You're courteous enough.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have Corporal Victory in my place.
Oh, one of those.
He snapped at me. He snaps when he orders food. Yeah.
Of course he does.
Just all you need to know about that one. He's a waiter snapper.
Yeah.
Who does that?
That gives me
not very nice.
Asshole.
It may have been a long march, but not
that long.
No march.
I don't care.
Is that long.
No, that long.
No march is that long.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Can we send him on a long march off of the top of the tree, perhaps?
Yeah.
Well, the
long march off a short pier. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Our ones here are they've gone to receive orders. Said not all of them might be returning, so hopefully
they said that I could train with them. That I could practice being a soldier.
Good. They've seemed friendly enough so far. At least not hostile.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts. Will they find what they're looking for? I told them that you had left to Ironheart with the others 2-3 days ahead.
That's quite nice of you, thank you.
Well,
Recovering.
I got no love of Breckendale, that's for sure, but you seem to have made your own decisions about them yourself, getting the hell out of there, so.
Yes.
Figure if they're looking for you, then it's my best interest to make sure they don't find whoever they're looking for.
That's much appreciated. It is oddly personal, that order.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you're the only wizard that has gone AWOL in all this.
No, it's a family matter.
Yeah, I don't think Calvin has been made aware of familial ties.
I should explain that. So, my my brother has styled himself the High Mage of Breckendale. Whatever that means. We haven't been on good terms since I left, since before I left. He's, well, the last time we encountered one another, he tried to kill me because I didn't approve of his fondness for necromancy.
A high mage is a necromancer and your brother.
That's
Yes.
pretty much the long and short of it, yeah.
Well, isn't that just a fine how do you do? Well, at
I've
least
had my
we don't
worries for a
have an army
while.
of the dead here yet.
No, not yet. Had my worries for a while that he may have ties to that cult, but I don't have anything other than supposition, and it seems like a thing he would do.
Yeah, some cult of the void certainly sounds like it would be something he might be mighty interested in.
Pretty necromantic sounding, now that we think about it.
Yes. All you need to know
Well-
is he's very ambitious, and he's very ambitious. Let's leave it at that, I guess.
Is he a waiter snapper as well?
You know, probably these days I would guess so. It used to be. When we were kids. Don't know where he
So-
got that attitude on him.
Well, when you... Sometimes necromancy takes you a little further than you might have wanted to go.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you can't be
Yeah.
redeemed. I guess that's my real question. So are we killing this guy, or are we going to try to save him?
It depends. Who would you rather live, him or me? You can answer honestly. I won't be offended.
Well, there's a whole lot of craziness about you. I mean, look around us.
I know.
But I can tell you, when it comes to the end of the day, I'd rather have some wild and crazy ride on a whirlwind magical shit going on than find myself raised from the dead and marching across the land as an undead critter.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, so that's
So-
2 more wild magic surges for Lucy from Andrew.
As,
He already gets them all.
Wait for Calvin to
Okay.
show up to ride the whirlwind.
As Lucy rolls them, there's a knock at the door, a loud knock at the door.
I go to answer the door.
There are several men standing outside, one of whom you recognize to be the sergeant from before, the car.
Sergeant Dakar. Sergeant Dakar. Huh. Welcome back,
He
sir.
nods. May we come in?
Of course, my doors are always open.
As that's cool. Okay, first one's cool. As men begin to march in, they keep coming. There's quite a few men who march in until about 20 or so men are standing here in the group. Calvin, you don't recognize any of them. Curtis, you recognize some of them. They stand at attention with they're all wearing some kind of wading shoes to deal with the weather as
As the Dutch
Lucy's
Boys Choir
wearing-
marches
That's
in.
interesting. Wild magic.
one of all within 50 yards are wearing wooden shoes. All of you have fashioned waders of some kind.
But on a pair of clogs.
Yeah. Like clogs mixed with Wellingtons. To,
Delightful. Delightful.
with large sort of wider prints than normal. Okay, right.
Oh.
What was the other one, Lucy?
electricity crackles in her hair when she uses magic.
So Lucy is now a screaming, terrifying, ugly, lightning crackling beast for a few seconds after she casts a spell.
Holy shit, what did I miss over
You missed some shit.
You missed some surges. Well, now anytime she casts magic, she gets made ugly, so... temporarily.
Okay.
As the men file in, and the sergeant turns to Curtis. Iago.
Yes.
Calvin just looks and stares right at Curtis.
I shoot him the ghost of a wink.
He looks at you and reaches in to his bag, pulls out a scroll, and holds it up. You notice that, I mean, it's like the ink isn't even dry yet. We have orders for your arrest.
Captain, what? I don't understand. What am I accused of?
Sorry?
Harboring a fugitive. And he turns and looks at Lucy.
Fugitive? Huh? Captain, I don't understand. I promise you I know nothing of any fugitives.
Men, arrest the woman.
What? No. What have I done?
So my last bit of effort is like, honestly, sir, if she is the magic user you set off, she may have bewitched me.
Roll me a deception
Just
check.
look at Curtis like, what the fuck?
I'm dying.
Are you really selling her out right now?
Hey, we've got to survive somehow. Like, if we all die, there's no way we're getting her out of there.
Lucy is trusting in Curtis to end his quick thinking, but is looking betrayed.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 12.
A 12. I'm gonna spend one of my nat 20s because I got him. I got him to burn. He looks at you and shakes his head. Arrest them all. He looks at Calvin.
I don't even work here. I was just trying to get some ale for Captain Victor, Corporal Victor.
All of them,
Fucking
he
catch
says.
me if you can. Peace. Bye. Sarah's out the back door.
Okay. How are you getting down?
I'll fucking... It was at 40 feet jump? Ooh, I'm not gonna jump.
100 feet. This one's 100 feet up. It's in the actual branch of this tree.
Oh, is she running and jumping out of the tree? Because I can cast Featherfall on her if she looks like she's leaving.
I'm gonna be making a run
man.
for it no matter what. So I'm either gonna be trying to charge by them and get through the doors, or like go out through the back, or run and hide. But she's a kid
So-
that's being told she's being caught by the law. She's not.
I'm not running. When
glad I don't have
they
that
like say
anymore.
they're arresting me, I'm sticking to my part that she bewitched me. So honestly, officer, I understand what you have to do, but I'm just an honest man.
I'm an honest man. As you are clamped in irons for a moment, Sarah, give me an acrobatics to flee.
Why didn't I use a nat 20?
You rolled. I don't know.
Rolled.
Fail?
What?
You are almost clotheslined by one of the men who sort of brings you down onto the floor. And like just pins you in place. He's just leaning on you. He's wearing plate armor, and Calvin, how do you react to this?
What? Let me go!
How many people are there?
There's about 20 or so up here.
Ugh.
You know there are more in the streets.
Yeah, we're not getting away.
You can't arrest a kid. I'm just a kid. I ain't got nothing to do with any of this. I don't want to be caught in any trouble. Get off of me, you big lummox.
Calvin looks there and just kind of looks shocked and in horror. And it's like just starts backing up away from them a little bit, and with a strum on his instrument, casts invisibility on himself.
The men draw weapons. Do you want to give me a check or two of them to get out of the room?
I said witchcraft. I said wizardry.
Can I do athletics to get out of this grapple?
Yeah, you can give me one athletics check, because then he's going to try and clamp irons on you.
Listen, leave.
Why do I
Go
not use
alone.
my nat 20 to 16? But
Again.
You are.
why do I keep rolling?
You only lose by one, but he grabs you and clamps irons upon you. Calvin, as the men approach where you last were, what do you do?
Give me 1 second, see how long this lasts.
I think it's like an hour if it's just basic invisibility.
No, there's something else. I chug. So let's get in this. Let's get in this wild magic surge. I chug my potion of storm giant strength.
Oh shit!
And become
shit.
So do the and we can since I still have to double in volume. I figure this is a good enough thing to do it. We've been around enough of crazy magic that maybe this is a permanent thing, or size permanent, not strength permanent. So as invisible, chugging that, and then gonna just do a, shove, push, bust my way out, figuring being hit by something with 29 strength while it's invisible probably is pretty tough to defend against.
Give me that strength roll with your ridiculous modifier, just because I want to see how fucking ridiculously OP tough Calvin suddenly becomes.
Let's see, 29. How will it even let me put in it won't let me put in 29 strength. So it's an 11 and a 29 strength is 29. What's the modifier on 29? 20. If you have, let's see, 18 strength is plus 4.
It's 9.
Yeah, so plus 9. So that would be if I'm invisible, do I have advantage?
Yeah, I'll give you advantage.
But let's actually, for story reasons, and we need to burn them, I'll do it with my nat 20 and it's plus 29. So let's go ahead and make that a 29.
Calvin, you can go through the fucking wall if you want and take the fall. I just bust out through the door if I can. If the door is too blocked, I'm going through people before I'm going to go through walls, because I figure out tossing a few of these guys into walls might be a good thing. There is one man standing in the doorway. He's not wearing armor.
How smug does he look?
Very.
I hit him like a fucking bull and watch him fly from 100 feet out, just like a catapult launching. I mean, I lower a shoulder and go. Just like my druid girlfriend taught me.
Okay. You hit him and he flips backwards through the air for a moment and begins to fall very slowly as he billows down towards the floor. As you off into the night, we'll catch up with Calvin shortly, but as we're coming to the close of the episode, you guys are clamped in manacles. Lucy, how do you take this?
It's like panic. She's just kind of now looking at them clapping the other two.
Listen, they didn't know, okay? You can let them go. They have nothing to do with this.
To
I
arrest
was lying.
you and anyone you are traveling with.
Why? What have I done?
So I'm happy to go to trial and testify.
Duran is also being shackled. He says, I'm really the wrong person to be asking. And he will start to march you guys out of the building and down the tree. Lucy, you're marched out first. very, very ruffled and snarling orders at the bottom of this staircase is a figure who is not wearing armor, who is barking orders for men to break out into a search pattern. And then he turns, adjusts his robes, and smiles cruelly. Hello, sister.
Hello, Julian.
And that
In a while.
is where we're going to wrap up this week.
Well, that went well.
That's great.
Waiter snapping. Son of a-
Waiter snapper.
Waiter snapper.
Will, what the fuck? She bewitched me? That's all you got? Like,
I want
And what
to.
else am I supposed to do? Am I stumble around?
no, it's not the terrible witch.
I love how Calvin just basically shoulder checked the High Mage of Breckendale off a 100-foot drop like a freight train.
We have a Hulk. Boosh.
Oh yeah,
Puny
Calvin's
mage.
Calvin's next song.
Puny mage.
Fuck you like a hurricane.
Oh my.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, my friends, that's where we're going to end tonight's episode of The Long March. If you enjoyed the show, let us know. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button and, of course, join us. Stick around as well. We've got another episode of The World Tree Burns, the most morally grey campaign on Twitch. So join us in just a few minutes for that with the wonderful Dan Dillon, who will be leading that campaign in the Dungeon Master's seat, and a bunch of us here playing some more games. So stick around for that. But let's get around to cast and crew real quick. Did we enjoy ourselves? And, of course, where can we find you guys online? Let's start with Josh, our Dungeon Master. What do you think, Josh?
That was fun. It was kind of a peaceful episode, and then it all went to shit with. I wonder how they found out who you are, Curtis. I mean, Iago. I mean, that's yeah. As
Don't even at me.
As my personal favorite from the moment was from the episode was absolutely in my mind. It wasn't him you hit; it was Victor or Corporal Victory that you just pummeled off of the edge. I lived for a moment vicariously through Calvin's insanity and ridiculous protein shake that he just drank. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll be around in a moment on the World Tree Burns playing Kane. And we've just fought a dragon, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm super excited, so stick around, guys.
Alrighty, and Tall Score, same questions for you, my friend.
Yeah, no, fun. Sorry, I was only able to catch the last little bit. I had airport drama as folks were still trying to get home from Gen Con. So it was always a blast. I like Curtis. He is got to play Lickspittle, and then got to do a shoulder, drop his shoulder and charge the big bad of the campaign, apparently. And yeah, so you can find me all around the interwebs. We will be this Saturday morning, actually this Friday night, and Saturday morning I will be streaming the new module that me and Bird versus Plane are writing for our new little publishing venture called Bird in the Storm. It's known as Clearing the Midnight Wield. And as a big treat, you hear it here first on the Encounter Roleplay Scoop. Our Friday night game will be with a couple of folks that you might have seen around before, including Mark Meir from Mass Effect.
Damn, that's
epic.
Dude.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, same questions for you.
Wow. So that was fun. Fine. This is fine.
It was fine.
I was legit real concerned that Calvin was gonna sell Lucy out in like 2 seconds for pocket change, but he came
Right, I did
through,
that.
and I'm proud of it.
5,000 gold is not pocket change.
I feel like he would have sold her out for pocket change though, just to get her away from the group. But no, it was fun. You can find me at Little Cup of Joe on Twitter doing a bunch of nerdy things, and on Twitch as well on Wednesdays Fridays and Sundays, if I can remember my own schedule, pretty late at night, doing games and art and stuff.
Awesome. And Tia.
I had a lot of fun. It's interesting seeing the military be nicer than I thought they were going to be. That kind of threw me for a loop. There's something about that guy's voice that makes me feel ways about stuff, and I don't know why. I'm sure I'm going to find out in the future. I had a lot of fun. You can find me at Tia Zimmer on Twitter. You can find me in the Encounter Roleplay Discord, which I recommend that you check out. You can find me on my Discord, which you can find by clicking my name here on Twitch, which is Laura Lania. And I feel like I had something else to share with you, and I totally forgot what it was. I'll see you at GexCon. If you're in Dulles, Washington, I'll be there hanging out with some of the other D&D people. Grant, Laugh Love Lindy, Askren. I feel like I'm missing somebody now, but I'll be there. I'll be there.
I'll be there. All right, awesome. That's everyone, right? I give everyone a chance to speak their piece. Yep. Good. Nailed it. Stick around for the World Tree Burns. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next week is the finale of the Long March Kingmaker. So be around this time next week if you want to figure how it all shakes out. And then we've got some very exciting announcements about the show, which is to follow in the new season on Encounter Roleplay. So keep an eye on the Twitter sphere for announcements, which is coming out very soon. There may be some spoilers, actually, some little teasers rather. On Twitter already, but yeah, we'll see. Until next time, my friends, try not to draw too many nat ones. We want to be here laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Bye!